What's going on, everybody? King Will Gaming here. Finally, back with another video. I know it's been a month since my last upload, but around the time I launched this channel, life decided to start kicking my ass. I had to sell some things, go without some luxuries for a while, but I'm back. And surprisingly, my UFC 4 wishlist video actually almost got 1K views, something I didn't really expect to see coming back to this channel. But let's keep it going. Now for this video, I wanted to address a few more things that I would like to see in the next UFC release from EA. What I really would like to see is the career mode be taken to the next level. As fun as it is to just go into fights and knock people out and win championships with your own created fighter, but there is a lack of content. The replayability of the mode isn't very high. Really, once you play the career mode twice, you really don't have much of a desire to go through the same thing again because everything is just repetitive at that point. The career mode for UFC has honestly been a consistent miss for the developers at EA. The lack of substance and effort that gets put into this franchise's probably most favorited game mode is quite frankly concerning to me. In my last video, I talked about how there was a lack of innovation to the grappling. Career mode in this series has been a bare bones experience, just like the grappling. The devs at EA haven't attempted to really capture the full length experience of being a fighter in the UFC yet. And after being 3 games in, we still have yet to see them go all out with the mode. Like, there are so many endless opportunities and ideas that they could implement for this game. Like, for example, I would love to see pre-fight and post-fight conferences and interviews come to the mode. It would be dope as fuck. After knocking out an opponent or winning a championship for the first time, you have somebody like Joe Rogan come into the octagon and ask you for your thoughts and how you feel after big moments. And also after a fight, you sit down and answer questions from the media like they do in almost every sport. And also pre-fight events like the conferences where all the fighters in the main card come together and talk trash and play mind games, adding to the build up to the fights. And the devs actually lightly added the dynamic in UFC 3's GOAT mode, where we had to prioritize training to get better or fulfilling obligations to add to the hype for our fight. To build on that feature, let us visually see our created fighter doing these things. Let us engage in making decisions more in depth. Adding things like these ideas would make our fighters feel more alive and more personable, and most importantly, make the experience more authentic. Because really, since playing EA's UFC, I feel like my fighter isn't really a part of the UFC world. It's like he's just there and isn't really immersed and recognized in the world as an actual legitimate fighter. Now in UFC 3 though, they do a better job of this. You're hearing the commentary mention your abilities and skills and how you performed in your last fight. The game recognizes you, but not as much as I would like it to, but that's just me. And also, I would love to see endorsements come back into the game. They had them in UFC 1. I don't know why they took them out. Somebody like John Jones, who has endorsements with Gatorade and Nike, or some fighters might have an endorsement with Monster. So that would be great to see come back into the game. Now, on to the next issue though, the lacking of customization. Now, back on UFC 1, you could actually customize your walkout apparel. You could put hats on your fighter, different styles of shirts with different phrases and saying on them, with whatever brand you were affiliated with. A small but important feature in the game that adds a layer of personalization for the player that they took out. I don't know why they haven't added it back in yet. Now, I know we can't do that now as far as like with the different brands and everything, because UFC signed a deal with Reebok to do all of their apparel. But still, I feel like we should be able to have the option to do at least some type of customizing to that aspect. Like, what if I want to put a skull cap on, or a regular hat, or I want to wear a t-shirt, or those UFC Reebok jackets with the hood over my head. And another really dope thing I would love to see with the walkout. I would love to have the option to walk out with your native country's flag. these would give us something more than just choosing what type of color trunks we want to wear for a fight. Small features to add, but makes a difference. And I don't know why I even have to bring this up with a modern game, but God, EA, can we get some more hairstyle choices, please? Like seriously, I know I'm not the only one who's disappointed with the lack of diversity and small selection of hairstyles and facial hairstyles. If you've been playing this series long enough, you know exactly what I mean. Out of 3 releases, EA has probably added maybe 2 or 3 new hairstyles at the most. At this point, about to release a 4th title, we should be able to do way more with this small cosmetic part of the game. Simple stuff like being able to put a design in the hair and adjust length. It really can't cut into their budget that much to add at least 10 new hairstyles for men and women. And lastly, for customization, I would love for the devs at EA to give the users more freedom with body types. Since EA has been releasing this title, we have never been able to adjust body types beyond height and weight. And even with height and weight, you have very strict caps. Now, I understand for weight for fighters, you have to be a specific weight. But as far as height goes, we should have a little bit more freedom with that. I mean, I think you can only make a light heavyweight 6'4" max, while you have guys like Alexander Gustafsson and you have John Jones who are 6'5" in that division, and you also have taller fighters in lower weight classes as well. I think you can only make a middleweight like 6'3" max. But the biggest thing for me, I want is to be able to adjust the wingspan of my fighter. Of course, with reasonable caps, but we should be able to adjust that and have that choice in the creation process. It really sucks to me how we, the players, are forced to have generated reaches, while the rest of the fighters in the UFC get to have diverse and unique height and reach length combinations in their divisions. Almost seems there's like an unfair advantage for those fighters when you come up against them because of that fact. But, to wrap this video up, the last thing that I would like to see be put into the career mode is more freedom of choice for your career. A lot of the time, it seems like you're forced to do certain things that you should be able to have a choice with, like, for instance, the 2 division champion thing. That is a thing that's forced on you, and you're forced to move up a weight class. I should be able to have a choice if I even want to do that, right? Like, what if I want to just dominate the welterweight division or something like that, and I don't want to move up? Or hell, what if I want to move down a weight class? That is something that needs to be left up to the user to decide. And then, it would be really cool if we were to get challenged at our division for somebody trying to come for our crown in our division. That would actually be a cool feature as well, to take on fight offers like that. But EA has the tendency to make you do things in this franchise that honestly you should have a choice with. Like I remember back in UFC 1, they literally forced you to retire. Like it was like you were fighting, and then it's like, well, you took too much damage. This is your last fight, so last fight, last hurrah, you're gonna be forced to retire. So I remember that thing. That really sucked. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Go ahead and leave your thoughts down below with other things that you would like to see added into the UFC 4 release. If you like this content, hit that like button, slap that subscribe button. And until next time, this is King Will Gaming, and I'm signing out.
And there she is after the massive knockout.